Gave the Reds an early lead. They led 4-0. The Dodgers tied it at 4 in the 8th. Tony Perez's hit gave the Reds a 5-4 victory. And in the 9th inning, ace reliever Ted Power closed down the Dodgers. The Cincinnati Reds are on the air. The fun, the action, the excitement of Major League Baseball with the Cincinnati Reds. Brought to you by Bud Light. The light baseball coming right up. And Charlie Williams around at third base. And a nice crowd has turned out here at Riverfront for the opening game of what hopefully will be a 3-game series. A single night game scheduled here tomorrow night at 7:35, and then a business person special here at 12:35 on Wednesday. Defensively for the Reds, Nicky Saski in left field, Eddie Milner in center, Dave Parker is in right. At third base, Buddy Bell, Dave Concepcion the shortstop, Ron Oster the second baseman, and Pete Rose starts at first base. Doing the catching, Dave Van Gorder and Andy McGaffigan, the right-handers on the mound. McGaffigan will face a Padre lineup that is completely changed around from that which you see on the screen. Al Bumbry leads off, then Gary Templeton, the shortstop, then Tony Gwynn hitting third and right. Steve Garvey will hit cleanup and play first base. Greg Nettles at third base will bat fifth. The catcher and sixth hitter is Terry Kennedy. Carmelo Martinez bats seventh in left field. Then Tim Flannery, the second baseman, hitting eighth. And Andy Hawkins, the pitcher, will bat ninth for San Diego.
Andy McGaffigan has been outstanding this year. 1-0 his record, 1.20. This is his third start since being recalled from Denver on July 24th. In his most recent outing, Andy faced Houston and beat them in a complete game effort. The final score of that ball game was 5-2, and he was brilliant in that particular contest, Ken.
So Andy McGaffigan and Andy Hawkins, two pitchers that have pitched very well lately. And for McGaffigan, the first man he'll face will be Al Bumbry. Bumbry, his first year with the Padres after a 12-year distinguished career with Baltimore. And he takes a ball. .239, a homer, 10 RBIs for Bumbry, who still runs pretty well at age 38.
And perhaps we should update you on the baseball strike situation. The players are set to strike at midnight after some slight movement in the negotiations yesterday.
1-2.
The talks ended for the day. Lee McPhail, we understand, and Don Fear, the players' representative, have met already this evening. They've given a press conference, and still they have not reached a compromise where they can get this entire crazy thing settled.
McGaffigan working 1-2 on Bumbry. And the breaking pitch hung a bit, but hit out of play, 1-2. We talked about the Padres struggling. They're on a 3-city, 9-game trip. They took 2 out of 3 of Atlanta, but lost 3 in a row at Houston. Thus, they're 2-4 on the journey. Fastball slammed to left, a base hit for Bumbry, who now has 5 hits in his last 5 at-bats. 2 singles, 2 doubles, and a home run. This copyrighted telecast comes to you through the courtesy of WLWT Sports Productions, authorized under television rights granted by the Cincinnati Reds, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds is prohibited. McGaffigan, with a runner behind him on first, Bumbry, will face Gary Templeton. And a watch immediately on Bumbry. The Padres at the last minute changing their lineup around and yanking Kevin McReynolds. He was slated to start in center field, but bothered by a bad foot that he injured in Houston in that series. Consequently, he scratched, and Bumbry got the start and moved up to the leadoff position. Reds looking for 2, and Templeton a tough player to double up, 1-0.
Bumbry had to help that cause out as well. He has 5 straight hits now, 2 doubles, 2 singles, and a home run, so he's on a hot streak as well.
That's what I hear. Templeton is 1-0, a .287 hitter, and it's 2-0 on the former Cardinal. Reds coming off that exciting victory yesterday, maybe a little bit more exciting than they would have liked it. Splitting the 4-game series with the Dodgers, going in 5 behind the first place Dodgers and coming out of it 5 behind Tom Lasorda's team.
I had a chance to visit with Gary Templeton earlier this year, and he said he's been trying to fight off that bad guy image he had in St. Louis, and he's done a splendid job. As a matter of fact, Dick Williams says he would be his MVP both on and off the field this year.
He has had an all-star season. 2-1. No one's ever questioned Templeton's abilities. He came out of the Southern California area, and people in baseball felt that he could be one of the all-time greats.
You know, Ken, he's still a very young guy, and he has a world of talent.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, he was a #1 draft pick of the Cardinals 11 years ago. And he's now 29 years of age. McGaffigan making his 3rd appearance of the year. And the story of Andy McGaffigan is that he's learned to pitch. He's just a different pitcher this year than in previous seasons. Bunbury goes, and it's out of play. 2-2 on Templeton.
His manager down in Venezuela said he was his best pitcher in the Winter Baseball League, and simply because he worked on that straight change, and that has meant all the difference since being called up. In Montreal, he just stymied them on no runs in 6 innings, and then his most recent outing in Houston. It was a brilliant outing, complete game here. First complete game as a major leaguer.
Bunbury going again, 2-2, and this will be in for a hit, and Bunbury takes the turn and holds on at second base as Esaski gets the ball in. And the going here right off the bat for McGaffigan, a little treacherous. Bunbury at second, Templeton at first, nobody out.
Just going with the pitch, just like Al Bunbury did, just reached out, hit the baseball perfectly, and just pushed it in the opposite field. Left field, both hits have gone that way.
Tony Gwynn hitting .305, 4 homers, 27 RBIs. He won a batting championship in 1984. A very good hitter with a very good hitter, Steve Garvey, right behind him. They're talking about Gwynn in the same breath as the Dale Murphys and the George Bretts and the Rod Carews. It's a decidedly closed stance. Ball 1.
How about a little congratulations for Rod Carew on his performance yesterday. Hit number 3,000 for the California Angels, and that's one of the rare times I've seen him show any emotion. He was just so excited.
2-0. Well, Rod is a good friend, a fellow I've talked to many times and interviewed and seen off the ball field. And you got to be happy for a guy to get to 3,000. There aren't that many.
Just 16.
3-0. Tony Gwynn, one of those kind of young hitters that just might have a shot at 3,000 hits someday. McGaffigan needs to throw some strikes here. He'd like to throw a ground ball with 2 on and nobody out in the first. 3-1. Esaski barely has to move, then he catches the sinking liner for the first out in the Padres' first inning.
Well, 3 pitches, all 3 hit the same way. The first 2 for base hits to left field. This one right at Nick Esaski in left field. And we were talking about Gary Reedus the other day when he dropped the ball in center field. And he was talking about not only was it the shirts, but you'd be surprised even on the low liners how that sun will affect you here at Riverfront on a very, very bright day.
Steve Garvey, 269, 13 homers, 53 RBIs. And the Padre cleanup hitter looks at a ball. The Hall of Fame just a few years away for Steve Garvey. One ball, one strike. It was interesting with the Dodgers here over the weekend. The Dodger players still talk about Steve Garvey. In fact, when Orel Hershiser was doing a pregame interview for the Dodger Network on Saturday here, a couple of the players in the middle of the interview were out yelling, "Hey, Garv, hey, Garv." I guess when you're a Dodger and you do too many interviews, you start reminding the players of Steve Garvey. Garvey, does he go around? They look to first base, and Tom Hallion says yes. 1-2 on Garvey. Of course, Steve has had some detractors.
He is Mr. Baseball. That's a beautiful pitch. That is out of the strike zone. It was not in the strike zone, but Garvey did indeed go around, and that's why it's 1-2.
Some people feel that Steve might be a little bit too Mr. Perfect. And he goes around. John McSherry knows it. And a couple of wicked breaking balls thrown by Andy McGaffigan retired Garvey, and there are 2 outs.
I think the detractors who say that Steve Garvey is, you know, a bad guy for saying yes to the press all the time, you know, heck with them, because he is a gentleman of the sport, a real representative of the game of baseball. Not only that, I don't know how many times you go up and he's in a situation where he doesn't want to talk, but yet will always talk.
Greg Nettles, former Twin, Indian, Yankee, still a potent force, as the numbers would indicate, at the plate. 2 on, 2 outs. Padres first. Ball 1.
Ken, San Diego has scored in the first inning only 1 time in 25 games. That was Saturday night when they snapped the streak at 23 straight games without a run in the first.
Rose will make the play to McGaffigan, and that does it. Bunbury and Templeton lead off the game with hits, and then McGaffigan settles down. The Padres fail to score, and after half an inning, San Diego nothing. The Reds coming up. Fielder Tony Gwynn in right field. The infield, Greg Nettles, Gary Templeton, Tim Flannery, and Steve Garvey. Terry Kennedy is behind the plate, and Andy Hawkins on the mound. Hawkins, the right-hander, will face Eddie Milner, Pete Rose, Dave Parker, Buddy Bell, Nicky Saski, Dave Concepcion, Ron Oster, Dave Van Gorder, and Andy McGaffigan.
And Andy Hawkins has been pretty terrific himself lately. You see his record 14-3. The last time he faced the Reds, he lost the ball game, but way back in June, the early part of June, he won 11 straight games, and he won his 11th right here in Cincinnati. So he is a tough man to face, has a very good fastball, changes speeds very well, and has an excellent sinking fastball, and that is why he is 14-3 with a 2.9 earned run average.
Eddie Milner will lead off for the Reds. Eddie at 248, no homers, 17 RBIs. And the 30-year-old leadoff man drops a foul bunt, 1 strike. The Reds come into this one having won 3 of their last 5. They've taken 6 of 10. And if you extend it back even further, they're playing .667 ball, 10 out of 15, 12 out of 18. So playing very consistently, just in a division that has maybe the hottest team in the game, the Los Angeles Dodgers. You see Nettles in tight at third for Milner. 1-1.
Well, he has really come in there. He's playing off the line about 8 feet, but the last time when Milner was up there, it was about 3 feet off the bag.
Now it's Nettles on the pop-up, and that's 1 away. Now the crowd begins to stir. That means Pete Rose is in the neighborhood. The countdown to surpass Ty Cobb now at 25 hits. .266 on the year with a homer and 30 RBIs. John McSherry saying something in the area of the grounds crew back at home plate. And it might be a banner hanging in straightaway center field from the green seats. And Pete saying, hey, there it is. They're going to take it away because the motion of Andy Hawkins' right arm was coming right out of that banner. So that's taken care of, and Rose is ready to get to work.
This guy doesn't miss much, does he?
Well, he's got it pretty well figured out by now. Ball one. Andy Hawkins, with his statistics, other than W's and L's, really is not that overwhelming. Out of play, 1-1 on Rose. The thing that Hawkins has done all year that he hasn't done in past years has been able to get out of trouble. He has a marvelous knack all of a sudden here in 1985. Oh, say when runners are at first and third with one out, to be able to pitch out of that kind of jam. And he seems to do it time after time after time. So they call him a winner now instead of just a pitcher. Foul ball, 1-2.
And he's got a pretty good defense along with him this year. He's not really a strikeout pitcher. He has just 48 Ks in 148 innings, but doesn't allow too many base on balls either. Just keeps the ball in play and lets the fielders do their work.
In on the hands, a little slider, and Flannery to Garvey for the second out in the Reds' first inning. Padres failed to score in their half of the first.
That is one perfect reason why he has been successful this year. The placement of his pitches, that slider in on the fist where you really can't do much with it except fight it off. He was able to, but an easy play by the second baseman, Tim Flannery.
Hawkins will face Parker here. Parker, a big day yesterday. Had a two-run homer in the first, a double leading off the eighth, and scored what proved to be the winning run. And he's up among the leaders with those numbers. There's another hit for Parker. A two-out first inning single. And Parker with a 120th hit of the season. Only Willie McGee and the Padres' Tony Gwynn have more hits than the Reds' Parker.
He really twists around on this one, gets his hands out quickly and drives it into right field. And my goodness, this guy has really not been on those streaks with the exception of May this year where he's just been on a tear. The rest of the time he's just been Mr. Consistency.
Parker at first with two away for Buddy Bell. Ball one. Buddy, 262, no homers, 6 RBIs. That represents 61 at bats, and he has had 16 hits. 2-0. So Buddy starting to feel at home now. .3-0. I guess you'd feel at home too if you'd hit .351 in the last 11 games as Bell has. Three and one.
And he comes here, and you've got to be thinking, man, you're pressing a little bit. You're in your hometown, you get off, you're struggling, you're hitting that right at 100. And he just knew things were going to fall into place, and they certainly have.
Parker, a pretty good lead. And it's 3-2 on Bell. That'll allow Parker to be on the move. Billy DeMars, the Reds' third base coach. Parker heading back to the first station. That's where Tommy Helms has his home as the coach. Bell still looking for his first homer as a Red. And gets an off-speed breaking ball that doesn't do much for ball 4. And just like the Padres in their half of the first, the Reds have 2 on.
Hopefully that will mean trouble because Nick Hassassy comes to the plate, and Dick Williams has to be a much concerned man because right now it's been tough to pitch to Nick. He has really been tough on right-handers this year, believe it or not. Despite his facing a right-hander in this situation, he has seen so few this year, but 6 of his 10 home runs this year have come against right-handed pitchers.
Ball 1. That could be just setting up some breaking stuff away. We're glad you're with us tonight. We hope we've got a lot more baseball for you in the weeks to come. But for sure, we've got a game tonight. There's the off-speed breaking ball fouled, 1-1.
That one looked like it was going to be ball 2.
Nick makes his home now year-round here in Cincinnati, hitting .256 and becoming familiar with left field now. The breaking ball hanging, 1-2. The last few curves that Hawkins had thrown have not been very strong pitches. He's kind of hanging them, or his slider, if you will. He's basically in his career been a fastball slider change pitcher. And shaking off Terry Kennedy. There's the fastball. Still a ball, 2 strikes.
He almost has Nick off balance on every single one of his pitches. Nick had 2 check swings that he's fouled off, and fouls this one off a fastball that was down on the strike zone, but the other 2, particularly the one before that fastball, looked like was one he could get to.
Breaking ball, and strikeout number 1 for Andy Hawkins. Reds no runs a hit. They lead 2 after 1 inning. No score. Yard before the game as the Navy parachute team, the Leapfrogs, came drifting into the old ball yard. You talk about adventure. Now that is adventure. Of course, it is Reds Recruit Company night here at the park, and a lot of young men were recruited in ceremonies prior to the game into the U.S. Navy. We wish them all the best as they head into new careers. Second inning, Andy McGaffigan will face a red-hot Terry Kennedy. Ball 1. Terry with a 6-game hitting streak. And the former Cardinal hitting .271 with 9 homers, 59 RBIs. 2-0.
His dad now working with the Houston Astros organization, formerly with the St. Louis Cardinals, and everybody in St. Louis thought they would never get rid of him because of that situation.
But they had a fella by the name of Ted Simmons there, and they figured it would be a while before Ted was ready to hang him up or be traded, and all that turned out to be good for San Diego. He's done a good job for him. 3-0, and now ball 4.
Yes, he has, and not only that, but just what was it, 1 year after that, they trade Simmons to Milwaukee. Darrell Porter is installed as their everyday catcher, and Darrell has had good seasons, particularly the World Series year. But other than that, they've really been searching for a catcher. Tom Nieto is their catcher now.
No score, second inning. Nobody out. Kennedy at first, and here's Carmelo Martinez, the San Diego left fielder. Good fastball, strike call. Martinez has had some good times at the plate lately, despite the club sagging. Last 6 games, he's hit .380 with 7 RBIs to lift his average. One ball, 1 strike.
You can really fool Carmelo Martinez, though. If you take a look at his swing, it's a big looping swing, and it's prone to errors. You get him to chase a bad pitch. He is prone to a lot of strikeouts, but can really hit the ball a long way as well. But watch that swing.
Reds looking for 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He does have a long swing, and that's somewhat common among young players. Eric Davis, for instance, the Reds farmhand at Denver, has a swing like that. Kevin McReynolds, who's out of the lineup for San Diego, is somewhat like that also. And the reason they're like that is because when they meet ball with bat, they can really hit it. That'll be extra bases. Kennedy had to stop at second. He now barrels into third, and at second with a stand-up double is Martinez. And all of a sudden, with nobody out in the second, the Padres with runners at second and third.
Really, the way to pitch to Carmelo Martinez is in. He gets the ball out over the plate and just destroys it to left field. Milner almost able to make the play, crashes into the wall. The hat pops off, and Esaski has to help him out and hold the runners to second and third. But there it is again. And Eddie right with it, reaches up. I think he only missed it by about a foot.
No score. The Padres threatening, and the hitter will be Tim Flannery. And the Reds are going to play in tight on the corners and back up the middle. Concepcion won't get this one. That'll score Kennedy, and they'll hold up Martinez. And the Padres with a 1-0 lead and runners at first and third as Flannery picks up his 28th RBI.
Once again, he gets the ball up right out of the strike zone. That was not a good pitch at all, and it busted over Davey Concepcion's head. And Eddie Milner, very fortunate to hold that man to just 1 run scoring because the ball skipped over the head of Davey Concepcion, the cutoff man.
The hitter will be the pitcher, Andy Hawkins, who's hitting 118. Reds looking for the bunt possibility, and Hawkins not showing it, and he'll check in with third base coach Ozzie Virgil, who of course gets the signs from Dick Williams in the third base dugout. Nobody out. You've got a runner at third, Martinez, who is not real quick. Ball will go out of play. Flannery runs a little better at first base. And the Padres with a situation where they can do a number of things, and given their fate of late, they just might try to make some things happen here early.
And the way the Reds infield is playing, they'll give up a run to get 2 outs if Andy can keep that ball down and make Hawkins hit the ball on the ground.
Well, the Reds want outs here early in the contest. San Diego has taken a 1-0 lead here in the second inning. They'll be hard put to get 2. A run will score, and the only play is to retire Hawkins, who picks up his 3rd RBI as Martinez comes in. Flannery advances to second base. 2-0, San Diego.
Once again, Andy really having a difficult time. He does get this one down, but still not down enough. It's right about belt high, and Hawkins with just not a very good swing. Concepcion's only play first base, but still, Andy McGaffigan really needs to settle down. He's having a difficult time controlling his pitches.
He started this inning by walking Kennedy. He went to third on a Martinez double, scored on the Flannery single. Martinez to third, and Carmelo comes in on the ground out. And that brings McGaffigan to Al Bumbry, who has had 5 hits in his last 5 at-bats. Makes you wonder if you might want to walk Bumbry. 1 strike. Theory probably crossing Pete Rose's mind, but saying, I don't want to put too many men on base here early in the ball game. One and one.
This guy has been hot. Again, 5 hits in his last 5 plate appearances.
7-2 today at Wrigley Field. The Mets beat the Cubs. Good pitch. 1-2.
That was his best pitch in this inning.
Flannery goes to third. Concepcion has to hurry to get Bumbry, and they're 2 away.
Davey made a nice play. He had to get to the baseball on that hop and that hop alone. If he stays back, Bumbry is safe by a mile, and there's runners on the corners. But again, Davey charging it. The old aggressive shortstop we remember so well through those 1970s. As the ball again out over the plate, but Bumbry doesn't get much of it, and Davey just makes a sparkling play.
McGaffigan kind of turning that one over, bending it away from the left-handed hitter. San Diego up 2-0. A couple of runs here in the second, and the batter's Gary Templeton. And McGaffigan worried about Flannery. Dancing down the line, steps on. 1 strike.
Boy, remember the years when Davey Concepcion was the mark of all shortstops? They patted themselves after the way Davey played, and he still makes it so smooth looking at shortstop. I still think he's one of the best.
That's a base hit. Templeton has his 38th RBI as Flannery scores. It is 3-0 San Diego. And Templeton, who has just been terrible against the Reds, and from the Reds' point of view, he just keeps hitting Reds pitching.
Here it is again. Not a great swing by Gary, but he just hits it back up the middle like he's been instructed to by his hitting instructor, and spanks another RBI in as Flannery scores on the play.
Templeton is hitting .500 against the Reds this year, 11 for 22. Now Tony Gwynn with 3 in and 2 away. Strike one.
Again, Andy's pitches are moving pretty well. He's just not getting them down. Everything is up.
Two outs. Templeton with good speed at first. Jack Kroll coaching over there at first for San Diego. As we mentioned, Ozzie Virgil over at third. There goes Templeton. The pitch, a ball, and the throw backed up by Oster. That's the 8th stolen base of the season for Gary Templeton, and the Padres having a big second inning.
Well, Templeton gets just a running jump, gets a quick start. Van Gorder gets rid of it in a hurry, and looks like they might have a play on him. They would, but the ball skipped in the dirt a little bit, and Oster made a nice fine play to back up the player, or Templeton would have been standing on third base right now. Looks like they can get him. The ball about 2-3 feet short.
The count is 1-1 on Tony Gwynn. Now 2-1.
This ball club does not steal too many bases either. For Templeton, that's only his 8th this year. Nobody is in double figures in steals.
They miss a fellow by the name of Alan Wiggins. Here comes Templeton, and it is 4-0 San Diego on a single by Tony Gwynn. He has his 28th RBI. That was a play that Buddy Bell will make most of the time, but not on this occasion.
Not at all. Just skipped under his glove and down left field line for a base hit. They will give him a base hit as well, and the Padres now have 6. But again, the ball is up. He rifles it the other way. Buddy goes down and can't backhand it, come up with it. And all of a sudden, we've got some business working in the Reds bullpen as John Stupor has jumped up to throw the baseball.
The Reds have had good success against Steve Garvey this year, and McGaffigan struck him out in the first inning. A walk, 4 hits, and the Padres have scored 4 times here in the second inning. We mentioned that the Mets won today. That means St. Louis must win tonight at home against Philadelphia if they are to be in first place in the Eastern Division at midnight tonight. 2-0. Nobody is really sure what it all means. But if there is a strike, certainly the Dodgers will lead the West, and over in the other league, Toronto will lead the East and California the West. But there's a little heat on Whitey Herzog's club tonight out at Busch Stadium, just in case it all ends on August the 5th. That was a good pitch and well positioned by McGaffigan. 2-1.
Ken, you know, Darryl Strawberry hit 3 home runs today. He has really been on a tear for the Mets, and he's a big reason. Ever since he came off the DL, it's been a big reason they've been jumping back up on the Cardinals.
Two balls, 2 strikes, the count on Steve Garvey. No one came in our booth. Tony Kiernan, the behind general manager of our flagship station, Channel 5, WLWT, flagged that one down like a good old ball player. Breaking ball hit deep to right, and Parker's there. 8 Padres hit in the second inning. They score 4 runs on 4 hits, and after an inning and a half, 4-0 San Diego. fans. It's the Reds Thermos, and it's free on Thermos Day thanks to Borden Dairy. It's Sunday, August 25th, Thermos Day here at the ballpark. The Reds hosting the Cubs at 2:15, and the first 15,000 youngsters 14 and under receive a free Reds Borden Thermos. It'll sure come in handy all year long in school lunches, picnics, and other family outings. Thermos Day, Sunday the 25th, sponsored by Borden Dairy. Dave Concepcion leads off against Andy Hawkins in the second inning and takes ball one. Concepcion, then Oster, and Van Gorder. Davey hitting .257 coming into this three-game series. 2-0.
Both pitchers have really been up. Hawkins has been able to work around his difficulties in just the one inning of play. But both have been troubled by getting that ball upstairs.
The Reds would like to jump back with a run or two here. San Diego looking right to the middle of the diamond. They've given their starter Hawkins a lead, and now it's up to him to hold on. 3-1. The fastball right to the shortstop. Templeton retires Concepcion. Talking about the standings in the Western Division, of course, the Dodgers playing at Atlanta tonight. They're 17 games over 500. They have the 5-game bulge over the Reds, leading San Diego by 6. And for all intents and purposes, Houston, Atlanta, and San Francisco out of really any pennant race. Now with 8 weeks to go in the season. Not impossible for those three teams to come back, but highly unlikely. Switch hitting Ron Oster, batting .290, breaks his bat and says, "Thank you very much. I'll give up a bat for a base hit anytime." 2 hits now for the Reds.
Oster just fight it off and once again turned the trademark over, was able to grab the baseball and drive it back up the middle and by Andy Hawkins. There you see it. Boy, he did splinter that bat. Back up the middle she goes. With 1 out, the Reds have a man on. And you know, I wanted to comment about the way the Dodgers have done it this year. A lot of teams will quietly move into first place. The Dodgers have not done that this year. They have exploded onto the scene, and the guy we're thankful who's out of here is a big reason, Pedro Guerrero.
Here's Dave Van Gorder. I wonder in what inning Guerrero's going to hit a home run tonight down in Atlanta.
Wasn't he incredible this weekend?
Home run in each of the 4 games here. We'll probably have one tonight. 1-1.
Talked to Tom Browning after the ball game, giving up the home run from yesterday, and he said, you know, I wouldn't want to put that pitch anywhere else, and he still hit it out of here.
1-2. There were some who questioned after the game why the Reds pitched it all to Guerrero in the 8th inning with a 4-0 lead, and certainly we talked about it a bit during the telecast. Dodgers 1, Atlanta 1 in the second inning in Atlanta. You don't think, do you, that Guerrero homered in the first inning? 1-2. At Pittsburgh in the second inning, Montreal leads the Pirates 2-1. Philadelphia, as we pointed out, at St. Louis, and San Francisco at Houston tonight.
Ken, we had that feeling every time he would step to the plate, even so much so that you would say, hey, let him hit his home run with nobody on this time.
Van Gorder, a base hit, reaching out, getting the bat head out in front of the plate. And back-to-back 1-out second inning singles.
Well, Andy Hawkins now being troubled by what Andy McGaffigan has been troubled by in the first 2 innings, keeping that ball up. It's as simple as that. His location has been good, with the exception of that ball is too high in the strike zone. And when you're a sinker slider type pitcher that this man Andy Hawkins is, you're going to get yourself in trouble because of that.
Now Tom Foley is going to pinch hit here for Andy McGaffigan. Andy goes just 2 innings tonight, gives up 4 runs, 6 hits. Walks 1, strikes out 1. Ball 1 on Foley.
One of those games you just take a shower and say I didn't have it.
Tom hitting 196. He had 92 at bats, and 1 out of 9 as a pinch hitter. 2-0. Chance for the Reds to have a big inning of their own here in the second. 2-1. This is quite a change from the pitching we saw in that Dodgers series, especially yesterday when Browning and Valenzuela were strong, especially Tom Browning. And then Soto and Welsh here on Saturday night, they pretty well had it their way. But in this one, neither McGaffigan nor Hawkins very sharp in the first couple of frames. 3 balls, 1 strike.
And when he's wild upstairs. Well, we did see some. When the Dodgers come to down, you know you're going to see some pitching, and we did.
That's more where Hawkins wants to be, but he walks Foley to load the bases for the top of the order and Eddie Milner. He wants Flannery to say something to Hawkins. Williams now might get something stirring in the bullpen. When you've got your big winner out there, there's Stuper going to work for the Reds again, as Dick Williams does. You want to give him every opportunity to win, especially when you give him 4 runs in the second inning. Milner popped to third in the first inning. Strike 1. Rose on deck. Two strikes on Milner, and both pitches tight, jamming the Reds' leadoff hitter. Hawkins just a very regular guy, despite all his notoriety here in the '85 season. Out of Waco, Texas, I just like to hunt and fish and throw the ball. Nothing very complex about this 25-year-old at all. 1-2.
But you know, even with the great success they had a year ago, I always felt that Andy Hawkins perhaps had the best stuff on the staff. He just never really put it together. And he said the reason this year from years ago was confidence.
Hot shot. That's a hit. Here's Oster to score. Van Gorder will stop at third base, and it's 4-1 San Diego. The 18th RBI of the campaign for Eddie Milner.
And I'll just let you listen to the roars. It's a Pete roars. As Rose gets stepped to the plate, fastball up high over the strike zone at the letters, and Milner does with what he should, just drives it right back up the middle. And the Reds have pulled it within 3.
Tim Stoddard in the pen, and Dick Williams out to the mound. Check it, make it Galen Cisco, the pitching coach.
Remember when he used to throw for the New York Mets back in their good old days when the New York Mets needed more than a pitching coach at that time, and Galen was one of their starting pitchers. Quickly moved to short relief, then to long relief. They tried him in every single position. He finally found out what he was best at, being a pitching coach with the Kansas City Royals, Montreal Expos, and now San Diego. And he needs some good words of advice for that man, Andy Hawkins, who still has trouble with those bases loaded.
Van Gorder at third, Foley at second, Milner at first, and Pete Rose 0 for 1 at the plate. Strike 1. You get the idea that this is potentially one of those 9-8 games. Pete, 25 hits shy of breaking the record, is in the hole 0-2.
And both of those have snapped in the strike zone, unlike the others that he's thrown that seem to rise in the strike zone. Pete
now will definitely just try to put the ball in play, and that leads to the danger of a double play with 1 out. 1-2. On deck, Dave Parker. He already has 1 hit. There have been 10 hits in the game, 5 runs. It's the second inning. 4-1 Padres. Nettles, Flannery, Garvey. And that retires the side. 1 run, 3 hits for the Reds after 2. San Diego 4, Cincinnati 1. Steve Garvey has checked things out, and his foot is still intact. The Padres with a 4-1 lead as the game goes to the 3rd.
Here's what happened as Pete Rose came running by after hitting into a double play. Watch the left foot. He steps on Steve Garvey's heel, and his shoe halfway comes off, and that's got to hurt a little bit. Steve Garvey's all right. He just laced the shoes back up, and he's ready to go.
Wipe away the blood on the heel, and be glad your Achilles tendon isn't severed, and let's go to another inning. You don't forget things like that. John Stuper on the mound, and Greg Nettles sends Eddie Milner to the dirt, and Eddie there to make the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out.
Nettles has really been hitting the ball extremely well lately, and Milner had to go all the way back to the deepest part of the ballpark, about 400 feet away, to haul that one in.
John Stuper.
Nettles
will face Terry Kennedy. Stuper 6-5 on the year with a 5.04 ERA. And for Stuper, this is his 25th appearance, his 13th relief outing against the 12 starts, and he's worked 84 innings. Kennedy walked leading off last inning and scored the first of the 4 San Diego runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Stuper, the former Cardinal. Oster to make the play, and that's 2 retired. Third inning at Riverfront, and the rain holding off. It rained a good part of the day here in Cincinnati, and the Padres leading it. They've rained runs here early, 4-1. Big hit for Martinez in the second inning. 1 strike. Out of play again. Down the line, 0-2. Stuper's pitched very well lately out of the bullpen, basically in situations where the Reds have been trailing. It was an outstanding 2-strike pitch. 1-2. Stuper, in fact, has not allowed an earned run in his last 4 appearances over 11 innings. 1-2 on Martinez. Tim Flannery is due next for the Padres. I kind of like their new uniforms.
I do too. I did not like them years past when they were that kind of taco color, brown and gold. And
canary color. Yeah, they look like big leaguers now. 3-2.
They look looked like they had just come back from a fiesta or a siesta.
Good pitch in the hands. Another strong inning for John Stupert. After 2.5, 4-1, San Diego.
Some people will tell you there's more to life than sports. There's not.
Join Steve Physioc weekdays at 5:30, 6, and 11.
4-1, San Diego leads it at Riverfront Stadium. Our next telecast, by the way, is Sunday, the 11th, this coming Sunday from Dodger Stadium. Reds, after this 3-game series with San Diego, planning to head west for 14 games. They'll go to Los Angeles, San Diego, Houston, and then back east to Pittsburgh. Dave Parker already has a hit tonight against Andy Hawkins. Leading off the third, he takes ball 1. We'll have the Sunday game, the 11th, from Dodger Stadium, and then all 3 games from Pittsburgh. One and one, and they scatter in the Reds dugout.
We say that in hopes the baseball strike has been settled by then. Right now.
Well, there might not even be a baseball strike to settle. 1 ball, 1 strike on Parker. The games in Pittsburgh are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, August 20th, 21st, and 22nd. 3 night games. We hope you're making plans to be with us for those 3. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good breaking ball from Hawkins in on the hands to Parker. Hawkins 14-3, only 2 complete games in his 21 starts. So you know the bullpen has helped him out. 2-2. Then you can imagine Goose Gossage, who's unavailable.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he underwent arthroscopic surgery to repair a torn articulating cartilage in his right knee on Thursday. Last Thursday, Cliff Colwell of the Scripps Clinic in La Jolla performed that operation, and he'll have it reevaluated in 3 weeks.
That's a hit for Parker. The big guy is going to go for 2. And he's in with a double. 2 for 2, Dave Parker.
I think he's getting in one of those binges again where he starts tearing apart the baseball. And again, a powerful swing, just going with the pitch beautifully, rips it. And Dave's going for extra bases the whole time here as he rounds first, head to second. He's in easily.
3 straight hits for Parker, and he has 4 hits in his last 6 at-bats.
2 of those doubles, another home run.
Buddy Bell walked in inning 1. 1-0. 4-1 San Diego, but Hawkins looks very beatable tonight.
Well, that is double number 24 for Dave Parker this year. He ties Keith Hernandez for 2nd place in the National League.
I still want you to tell me more about this surgery that Gossage had. You gave me enough details there that I thought I was in medical school somewhere.
Well, it was in articulating
he had knee surgery?
He had,
is that the same thing?
No, he had articulating cartilage surgery.
I knew you wouldn't be able to say it 3 times. 3-0. He had minor knee surgery. He'd be out, what, 3 or 4 weeks?
Exactly.
I got it. Buddy Bell. 3-0. They'd like to at least move Parker over to 3rd base. And Buddy draws a walk. The Reds left 2 on in the first. They got a run last inning, also left 2 on, and here they are with 2 on against Hawkins in the 3rd.
Tim Stoddard will jump up in the Padres bullpen. There are those in the medical industry that are viewing our ball game, and they would like to know just about that injury, how serious it is.
They're up to date. Nick Esaski takes a breaking ball, ball 1. Nick struck out in the 1st inning. Kennedy calls time. Hawkins just has not gotten untracked tonight.
No, he is not. Just like Andy McGaffigan did. Perhaps a lot of people thinking about this strike so much today that their concentration may be off, because talking in both clubhouses with Dick Williams of the Padres, with Pete Rose of the Reds, everybody to a man is thinking nothing but the baseball strike, and they wish it would just go away.
One and one. Parker leading off the third with a double. Bell following with a walk. San Diego looking for two. Esaski, for a big man, runs very well. 2-1. The pitch, the breaking pitch that Hawkins seems to be throwing, more of a slurve than anything, and he really doesn't have much bite to it. And the fastball gets buried, and Gwynn will not get to it. That'll score Parker. Bell to third. Esaski has a double. It is 4-2 San Diego.
Ken, what you were saying was exactly true. That slurve is just not breaking at all, and this one just seemed very, very flat as it got over the strike zone. Up in the strike zone again, breaks very, very little, and Esaski just hammers it the opposite way.
You got a breaking ball that isn't doing anything, and you have to go to fastballs. You're going to get buried, and the Reds hammering away. Each side has 6 hits. It's the bottom of the third, and the Reds are trailing 4-2, but they've got the potential tying runs out there. Bell at third, Esaski at second, and the batter is Dave Concepcion. Look at that pitch. There's another example. Just sort of a nondescript pitch.
It almost has no bite to it at all. No snap in the strike zone.
There's the fastball, and he gets hurt by it again. Bell scores. Esaski will hold on, and Davey makes it a 4-3 game with his 29th RBI.
Will do it as Dick Williams comes out for the final time to meet with Andy Hawkins, and he will say, I want the big guy, Tim Stoddard. We all remember this big fellow, played at North Carolina State University, both baseball and basketball, won himself a national championship there by way of the basketball, but he can throw and throw very hard. His consistency, though, this year has been somewhat troublesome, but he'll try and rescue Andy Hawkins here in the third, and my goodness, everything seems to have broken loose. Hawkins will bid goodbye. He will not get victory number 15 tonight.
Well, Andy Hawkins, in his last 2 starts coming into this one, had a consecutive scoreless inning streak at 17 1/3 innings. Oh, that went down the drain in a hurry. Third inning, 4-3. San Diego leads back at Riverfront after this. Wilson with Steve Physioc. Joe Morgan is on assignment, and we've got a hitter's ball game tonight. And the new pitcher, probably wondering why he's in there, is Tim Stoddard. The bats seem to be hammering just about everything. Ron Oster will be the hitter. The Reds looking to tie it. They have the potential tying run over at third base. That's Nick Esaski. Parker and Bell have already scored. Nobody out. That'll get a run in. Martinez. Esaski tags. He'll score. It is tied at 4. Oster is 22nd RBI. Well, it appears,
Ken Wilson, we're going to have one of those ball games that may last forever. And why not? Both pitchers have been up in the strike zone. We may have a strike tomorrow. Might as well finish off on a terrific note.
Just as long as the Reds end up with one more run.
You're absolutely correct.
Dave Van Gorder steps in. Stoddard will work with 1 out. Concepcion at first, and everything knotted up at 4. This is a free-for-all. 1 strike. 7 hits now for Cincinnati. San Diego with 1 less. Action in the Reds bullpen. You see Bruce Kim in the background. He's warming up. Rookie left-hander Bob Buchanan. 1-1. There's Buchanan. Davey goes. They pitch out. A strike. The throw by Kennedy. Not in time. Templeton was poorly positioned. And Kennedy's throw was strong, but Templeton had to sweep back and was unable to nip the uniform of Concepcion.
This was either a terrific slide by Davey Concepcion or a terrible tag by the man. Look at Dave Van Gorder throw his bat at the baseball. He wanted to help out. But watch Templeton. The slide is there. Here's Randy Marsh. He's right on top of it. He says, no, 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 he's safe. You missed the tag. And Concepcion with a pretty tag, and Gary Templeton has to be a little disturbed with himself. He wasn't really that close to the bag, Ken.
Van Gorder on a 1-2 pitch grounds to Nettles, and there are 2 outs. Well, what Templeton did, he did what so many people do. Instead of waiting for the ball to get to the bag and then put the glove down, he came up for the ball and had to swing the glove back. And it's proven with simple science that the ball is going to get there much more quickly than your glove is sweeping it all the way back. He was a little aggressive.
Gave a little of the old ole.
Max Venable is going to pinch hit here for John Stuper. Well, it's a night when everybody wants to get to the bat rack. And Venable gets his chance here in the 3rd inning with a potential tie-breaking run at second base and 2 outs. Venable, a .260 hitter, had been starting a lot in left field. Now beginning to probably get the feeling that Nick Asaski is going to become somewhat of a fixture out there. In the 3rd. Good breaking pitch. 2 strikes. And that's a breaking ball that has something on it. Venable thinking, where's Hawkins when I need him? Why do I get this fellow? Both starters tonight, Andy McGaffigan and Andy Hawkins, go 2 innings, and that's it. Though Hawkins sees some of the 3rd. One and 2. Stoddard, a 10-game winner with the Cubs last year. Got to the big leagues first with the White Sox, but basically is thought of as having a pretty good big league career in Baltimore. Ball, 1 and 2.
He played in an absolutely unbelievable high school basketball team in Chicago, which I believe at that time was ranked #1 in the nation. Junior Bridgman was on it. Pete Turgovich, who played at UCLA. Bridgman, who played in the NBA and at Louisville. And Tim Stoddard, who went on to become, I think, 3rd team All-American at North Carolina State.
He's out of there. Venable is caught looking. However, the Reds score 3 times in the 3rd inning on 3 hits, and after 3, 4-4. The score after 3 innings. New pitcher Bob Buchanan. We'll tell you about him, but first, some words from Marge and Pete.
All right, Pete, let's go over it one more time. We have hitting.
Check.
An airtight defense.
Check.
Pitching.
Check.
Excitement.
Check.
Dog food.
Dog food?
Well, hey, Pete, this baby's got to eat.
Check. It's a weekend to remember at Riverfront. Saturday is Walk of Fame Induction Day. Sunday is Thermos Day. For great baseball, the Reds take on the Cubs. Come on down for a weekend of fun.
The last time we saw Bob Buchanan was here last Wednesday night against Houston. You'll recall he came in relief of Tom Browning in the 6th inning. He gave up a bases-loaded double to John Misrock, an RBI single to pitcher Mike Scott. He walked Bill Doran, and Pete came out with a hook and said, "Young man, get to cover." The Boo Birds were out, to say nothing of the big Astro bats. Well, here he is to work in the 4th, and here's Steve.
And Buchanan's first pitch to Tim Lannery is low. It's ball 1. And he admits he was nervous at that time coming in. He's got to get rid of those little nervous. Just a year out of Double-A. Started last year in Double-A and really had a terrific season. There's the strike. He has a terrific fastball, which he will hold like 3 different ways, with the seams, across the seams, and covering his 2 fingers and kind of paneling it with one of the seams. Buddy Bell will take care of Tim Flannery for the first out in inning number 4. But he has struggled this year. In 7 innings and a third, he has given up 11 hits, 4 runs. All 4 have been earned. He's walked 2. He has struck out 1. And there's a pretty slider on the outside corner that's swung on and missed by Mr. Stoddard. As the count, 0-2. And again, that fastball that tails a little bit away as he turns it over just a bit to Tim Stoddard. Stays outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pretty pitch, strike 3. Buchanan loves his country music. As a matter of fact, Ken Wilson in the clubhouse today, everybody had that rock and roll stuff on, and Bob, they call him Buck Buchanan, walks over and says, "Hey, it's time for the good stuff. I want to listen to my..." Oh, what was he listening to?
Who do you have, Waylon Jennings? Or
it might have been Waylon Jennings, little Johnny Cash.
Is he a real country western buff, or is he a city country buff?
No, he likes that real country. Johnny Cash, I think it was from the album Look at Them Beans, Look at Them Tomatoes. Breaks his bat right back to Bob Buchanan, and it's quick 1, 2, 3, just like Johnny Cash would do it. Buck Buchanan does it for Cincinnati. It's a 4-4 ball game as we head to the Reds half of the 4th. For our score, Cincinnati and the San Diego Padres. Eddie Milner will lead things off. He'll be followed by Pete Rose and then Dave Parker. This is Steve Physioc along with Ken Wilson tonight from Riverfront Stadium in what could be the final baseball game in 1985. We hope not. Milner drives one to right field, but it will be out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tim Stoddard on the mound for his 2nd inning. Andy Hawkins started it, only lasted 2, and man, was he bombed. His pitching was just not good at all. Didn't look like the 14-3 pitcher he was when he came into Riverfront this week. Eddie tries to bunt one down. Kind of pops it foul.
Didn't get a very good pitch to bunt there. Those breaking balls are not exactly what you have in mind when you're running up in the batter's box.
You almost can feel as the ball is breaking the infielders coming down on you. The concentration gets away. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Eddie Milner. Just misses low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. One final in from today. New York over Chicago, 7-2. The Mets beating the Cubs as Darryl Strawberry hit 3 home runs. Milner again goes after a high pitch and pops it foul. Stays the same, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pete Rose coming up, still looking to try and knock a hole in Ty Cobb's record. He is 25 away. And Eddie smashes one to right field. Tony Gwynn will play it on 1 hop, and the Reds with something going here in the 4th. here comes Pete Rose with nobody out, a man on in the fourth. A tie ball game. Pete looks in the dugout as the throw goes over to first base. Steve Garvey making sure that right heel is okay. The shoe looks pretty good. Pete Rose stepped on it early in the ball game when he grounded into a 5-4-3 double play. That was Pete's second at bat. He is 0 for 2 for the ball game. A ground out both times, and he has taken a strike here from the home plate umpire, John McSherry. I don't believe Pete agreed with that pitch.
Very unhappy was Pete with that call. And look at, he's asking Kennedy, was it or wasn't it? And look at McSherry saying, you hold up for Pete, and Pete, how about getting in there?
It was out of the strike zone by that much, he said. And Pete goes, it was. Milner is 19 stolen bases this year. He has been caught 9 times. Reedus the best on the Reds. He has 38. Eddie not going. The pitch, and Pete swings and misses. 0-2. Tim Steiner could really be overpowering. Imposing figure on the mound. 6'7", 250 pounds. I'd like to see he facing Frank Howard. Faces Pete Rose with a man on, nobody out. The pitch out with Milner going. Here's the throw. They did not get him.
San Diego guesses right. Milner has a good jump. Kennedy does a good job. But Eddie just able to beat the throw. So a 2-strike count, and the Reds run.
Eddie just got a terrific jump, even though the pitch out was called. That is stolen base number 20 for Milner, and he's in scoring position. And Pete wants to help him out. 2-2 the count now. Nobody out.
Of course, Pete seldom strikes out. You can be sure he's going to try to pull the ball here and move Milner over to third base.
Takes it high, 3-2. He is one of the best on-base percentages in all of baseball. Number 2 in the National League this year. Stoddard in danger of walking his first man. He set down 3 Reds when the go-ahead run was on in the third. Here's the payoff. He walked him. And the Reds again with something going here in the fourth. 2 on for big Dave Parker, who's 2 for 2. And Dick Williams studying his lineup chart saying, what relief pitchers do I have left? He may get somebody up in that bullpen. And one of right-handers, Galen Cisco, has motion in that vicinity at the end of the bench. Bring you up to date on who that pitcher is who will be going down into the bullpen. Fastball in Parker's wheelhouse, and he pounds it foul.
Roy Lee Jackson, the newcomer, came over from the American League in that Alan Wiggins deal.
Parker again fights off the pitch on the fist. It's 0-2. Way inside, and the Cobra kind of turns and looks and snaps back at the pitcher. Says, hey, a little too close on that one. Two on. Nobody out in the fourth. And the Reds RBI man up there. And Parker lashes it to right field. Goodbye. number 21 for Dave Parker, and this, Bud's for you. The Reds have themselves a 7-4 lead and a tip of the cap for Dave Parker.
Parker now leads the National League in RBIs. He gets a fastball and just buries it. Home run number 21, and he has 80 RBIs. He is one ahead of the Cardinals' Jack Clark, and he comes out of the dugout for a second standing O.
It was right to the right of the Navy Adventure sign, and that indeed was an adventure for Tim Stoddard. Getting the hands out quickly, and the wrists, and Parker goes into his home run trot. Yes, he did. He knew right away that it was gone. Here's Buddy Bell. The count to him: 1 ball, 2 strikes. Buddy fights it off again. Started really working inside on the fist. Did that to Parker, but then cost him. He's in a good mood now. Breaking pitch and a beauty. That is strike 3, and Bell is gone.
Buddy not happy at all with that call by John McSherry. But you have to judge it where it goes over the plate, not where it reaches Terry Kennedy's glove.
An outstanding curveball. Here's Nick Asaski. He is struck out. He has doubled the drive and a run and came around to score. Seven to 4, the Reds lead here in the 4th on Dave Parker's 21st home run. Checks his swing. Oh, and Kennedy took it. And really, this one looks like a little bit of pain.
Looks like he caught it under the mask. A surprise foul ball and a pitch up and in. He says, wow, just give me some air, and you can see that he's fine. I use the term fine rather loosely. Fine as opposed to in danger. You can see him breathing. That's the good news. So he is fine in that sense.
It seemed to hook around that little guard he has hanging off his catcher's mask as the ball ticked that way, and so many times it will not, but this one was kind of a check swing.
The pitch up and in was a ball. Oh, you're right, just squirted right underneath that. Went right inside of it.
You see that little guard that hangs down on the catcher's mask? That was designed by Steve Yeager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. But it is designed for head-on shots, not shots from the side, as you saw from the bat of Nick Asaski. But Yeager was playing years ago, and he used to have that problem all the time, and also took a bat in the throat when he was standing on the on-deck circle, and they had to take pieces of the bat out of his neck. And he said he always feared injury to recur in that area, so Yeager developed that kind of hanging shoehorn there. Asaski, they want the call from the first base umpire, and they get it. And Asaski is not going to agree on this one at all.
Well, I wonder about that one myself. Didn't look like he made much of an attempt at the pitch. I was surprised Kennedy even asked first base umpire Tom Hallion.
Dave Concepcion is behind Tim Stoddard, 0-1. Will there be baseball tomorrow, though? The players say they will strike unless something is resolved tonight. Ground ball back up the middle. Templeton should have an easy play, and does, to end the inning. But the Reds score 3 runs on 2 hits. The big hit, though, the 3-run home run by Dave Parker. And they head to the 5th with a 7-4 lead. The Reds' big right fielder Dave Parker has given Cincinnati a 7-4 lead in the 5th inning of play as Parker smashed his 21st home run of the year. On the mound, Bob Buchanan for Cincinnati. He will face Gary Templeton, Tony Gwynn, and Steve Garvey here in the 5th. And there is extra bases down the side. Parker will try and head him off, and he holds Templeton to a single. That shotgun arm.
Very nice play by Dave Parker. And Gary Templeton is 3 for 3 and 12 for 23, over 500 against the Reds this season.
He enjoys Riverfront Stadium. A single back in the 1st, a single to drive in a run and score a run in the 2nd, now a base hit to lead off the 5th inning. We've got Tony Gwynn, the batter. He's one of the best at hitting that baseball. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI. Bob Buchanan throws that fastball, but it's low. 1 ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Buchanan has that sneaky fastball that'll really set up good with the slider and the change. But the fastball he uses so well just because of the positioning of the baseball with his hands. And there it's right down the middle, 2 and 1. He was the Reds' number 2 draft pick back in June 1979. Missed low. 3 balls, 1 strike. Dave Van Gorder working with Bob Buchanan tonight behind the plate, his 2nd straight start. Pretty pitch inside corner. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a man on first base. The Reds leading by 3. Just do not want to give San Diego base runners the way this ball game is going. We are only in the top of the 5th, and it's already seen 11 runs cross the plate. Didn't miss by much, but it's ball 4. And the Padres have their first 2 base runners on here in the 5th. Brings us to the RBI man, Steve Garvey, who has punched across this year 53. It's Buchanan's first walk of the ball game after setting the side down in order in the 4th. So now Templeton moves to 2nd. Gwynn on at 1st. Padres with their best speed in the base paths. And what is Steve Garvey talking to now?
He's moving umpire Randy Marsh, who was on the Ron Oster side of the bag, and he's over on the Dave Concepcion side now.
And there is a base hit to left field. Templeton will round 3rd and head home. Here's the throw from Nick, but it's cut off by Buddy Bell. So a run in, and now the Reds' lead has been trimmed to 2, 7-5. Picks on the first pitch by Bob Buchanan.
You expect this from Garvey. He's been the kind of player his entire career who'll come through when most needed, men on base. Just takes that fastball away and turns the wrists over. Now you've got a fella, Steve Physioc, who very much has the capabilities to hit a good fastball or a hanging breaking ball right out of here.
Man, he tore into John Stuper's fastball back in the 3rd and ripped into straightaway center field that Eddie Milner was able to run down. Stuper had a strong 3rd inning, and perhaps there's a rip to right field. Parker is over. It will score another run. Could score 2 as Parker's wobbling it around in right field. They're going to hold up Steve Garvey. So 1 does cross the plate, but they hold up Garvey. It's a 7-6 ball game. So Nettles comes through again, just like you said.
Well, they get the bullpen working. I think both bullpens are going to be pretty busy tonight. They'd like to use the left-hander here against Terry Kennedy.
Ken, Joe Morgan might ask the question, because John Stuper looked so strong in that 3rd inning, why would he be taken out?
Well, they pitched an inning, and then they pinch hit for him in the bottom of the 3rd when the Reds scored 3 to tie. And that's a very good question.
Stuper went boom, boom, boom in the inning he pitched and got side retired in order. Nettles, Kennedy, and Martinez at that time.
You just can't use too many pitchers too early in a ball game. Although you're not exactly saving any for tomorrow, are you?
It doesn't look like it anymore unless we have really a surprise, because Lee McPhail and Don Fehr, we understand, are still meeting. They've had 3 press conferences already today. Here at Riverfront, it's a 7-6 ball game. The Reds still leading, but Kennedy at the plate sends a ground ball to Ron Oster. A run will score. We are tied at 7. So Kennedy gets the RBI. And we finally have an out in the 5th. Well, your prediction, Ken Wilson, not about the strike, but what's the final score going to be?
I told you this was going to be a 9-8 game very early. I'm just about ready to go to my 13-12 prediction.
Well, this is a fun one to watch.
It may settle down. I don't know why.
Well, Nettles is at third now. 1 out for Carmelo Martinez. And Buchanan needs a strikeout. Good curveball. Padres scoring 4 in the second have tallied now 3 in the 5th. The Reds with 1 in the second, 3 in the third, and 3 in the 4th. And this one is hit high in the air. There may be a play at home plate as Milner comes on. Nettles tags but refuses to go, as a perfect strike from Eddie Milner. I'm telling you, he is a fine outfielder.
Ball not hit that deeply, and the man at third, Nettles, certainly does not run that well. And Milner does a good job getting in position to throw, hits the cutoff man, and no opportunity for Nettles to try to come in and break the tie.
But just what you said, Ken, the fact that he got in position early when he made the catch, so the footwork would be there if he was going to throw home and Nettles was going to try.
One of Eddie's finest assets is speed, his ability to get to baseballs and be able to make plays, and make some tough plays look routine often.
So Bob Buchanan has a chance now of getting out of the inning with the game tied. 3 in the 4th. The Reds took a 7-4 lead, and San Diego's come back to tie it up here in the 5th. We'll have a pinch hitter, and it's Jerry Royster. Well, they actually call their second baseman Timry Flanster. That's because Royster will hit against the left-handers, and Flannery will hit against the right-handers. And they have been just so successful. This Flannery and Royster combination at second base since April 25th has batted .304 in the last 40 games. There's a good curveball. Nothing in 1. Nettles staying at third base. He's the only man on with 2 out now and 3 runs across. We are tied at 7. This is low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, same location, 2-1. Royster's batting .308 in his last 28 games, going back to the end of April. He has gone 36 for 120. That's good for right at 300. Stays high, 3 balls and 1 strike. The Padres voted 24-1 to authorize a strike way back in June. Tonight in the clubhouse, 5 Padres said they were the one guy. There's ball 4. Jerry Royce was really giving those guys a difficult time. And we're talking about Gwynn and Garvey because that was the situation. There was an argument going on in there, and the guy saying, hey, I'm all for it now. I'm all for giving in and accepting the situation. Let's play ball tomorrow. We're talking about Gwynn and Garvey and Nettles, Kennedy, and they all 4 said it had to have been me. I don't know where they came up with those numbers.
Baseball players sometimes say strange things. I'm wondering if it's beginning to get more and more that way. You know, we were talking about the
1/3. There's Jimmy Cott, the Reds pitching coach, who has to be a bit concerned about the play of Bob Buchanan. So back to the players' strike. We're talking about money being a percentage. The players asking for 1/3. They're now asking for 1/4. But perhaps they should talk about just the money situation. They're getting a sizable raise in the TV revenue. Here comes Tommy Hume. Well, the pitcher spot was coming up in the 5th inning, so Pete Rose really had to make a decision. But when he saw San Diego make a decision, he said, all right, I've got to go with my right-hander. And we'll come back with Tom Hume on the mound. And the Padres and Reds tied at 7 in the 5th. We're seeing our 4th Cincinnati Red pitcher in the ball game. Score is tied 7-7, and the Reds official 580 gift shop is always busy stocking new gifts and souvenirs. Many of them 580 exclusives. The newest item at 580 is the Pete Rose Collector's Coin, a troy ounce of fine silver that features Pete's likeness on one side and a magic number 4192 on the other. Send $24 plus $2 postage and handling to 580 Gift Shop, 6th and Walnut, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45202, or order by phone or call area code 513-6210-580. Tom Hume on the mound. And he's facing young Jerry Davis. Look at Hume this year, 1-3, and he's been throwing the baseball very well lately. Struggled early in bits of May and June, but has come around with a nasty-looking breaking pitch lately.
You better get his nasty-looking fastball down in the strike zone, or he's going to fall into the rut that every pitcher's been in tonight, with the exception of John Stuper, and that's called getting hammered.
Well, they've got Nettles at third base, and there is a strike. It's 3 balls and 1 strike. And Jerry Royster at first base. There are 2 outs. 3 runs are already in. We're only in the top of the 5th, and it's a 7-7 ball game. Davis with the count 3-1. Fouls it off, 3-2. We're going to take it right to the strike deadline at midnight tonight. Again, we're only in the 5th. This ball game 2 hours old, and Tom Hume is the 4th Reds pitcher. Right down the middle, popped up. Rose should have the play. Oster comes over, calls him off, and that will do it for San Diego. But the Padres tally 3 to tie the ball game at 7. We head to the Reds half of the 5th. One of the Reds' new owners on hand. Part owners, Ed Reinke from New York City, formerly from Northern Kentucky area. Just says he has always loved baseball. Was in the Reds clubhouse today. We've got a new second baseman for the San Diego Padres, and that is Jerry Royster, taking over for Tim Flannery, and a new pitcher, Roy Lee Jackson. The 31-year-older, formerly with the Baltimore organization. He has bounced around throughout the major leagues. Been with the Mets. He's been with Toronto. And he's made his tour of the minor leagues as well. You talk about Lynchburg, Las Vegas, Tidewater, Marion. This guy has been around. Loves his baseball, though.
He was in spring training this year down in Florida with the Blue Jays. In fact, I remember watching Roy Lee pitch against the Reds at Al Lopez Field. They cut him, and he signed with the Orioles.
There's a fastball outside. You've got to say that the Padres got the short end of that deal. Alan Wiggins for Roy Lee Jackson. Roy Lee promises that will not be the case, but Wiggins has outstanding potential. He had just, well, gone to the final edge with San Diego twice, going on the suspended list for drug usage. He promises to be a new man now that he's in a new town of Baltimore. 2-1 the count to Ron Oster. Jackson's record this year, 0-1, and Oster down the line, extra bases. Ronnie rounding first and heading to second. Wynn with a fine throw to second, but the cutoff man will let her go. It's a double for Ron Oster.
The pitch from Roy Lee Jackson is in, and Ron does a good job turning, getting the bat head out. Garvey doesn't cover that much ground at first base. And now every non-pitcher starter for the Reds has a hit, with the exception of Buddy Bell, and he has walked twice. And the Reds in double figures. Oster's double is the 10th hit today.
And here's Dave Van Gorder, a single, a ground out in 2 plate appearances tonight. Jackson will check Oster. Curveball right in there. Maybe it's the humidity, maybe it's the temperature, but that ball just will not stay down.
Could even be the fellows who are throwing it.
Well, Oster is going, and there's the throw to third base, and Ronnie is safe. Nettles will complain, and it looked like the third base umpire, Charlie Williams, was about ready to call him out, and then went with the safe sign. Nettles is still complaining.
Oster gets a pretty good rolling start. Van Gorder tries to help him out. Well, there was a little period there where it looked like Oster was not in contact with a bag, and it looked like he might have gotten tagged. He gets his hand in. He's there. Then the tag, and I think there's some question if Oster's hand or leg was on the base then.
And Van Gorder will drive in Ron. Gwynn is on, makes the catch. Here comes Oster. Here comes Gwynn's throw. Not in time. The Reds lead 8-7. Well, Van Gorder comes through again. He's come through with some timely hits in 1985. And this one's a wild one. 8-7 already. We're only in the bottom of the 5th.
Van Gorder, his 20th RBI. Oh, that tag play at third looms large. And you could see on the replay that Nettles may well have had a gripe with Charlie Williams. One of the 9 ways you can score from third base with even less than 2 outs. Gwynn does not have a strong arm. That's his biggest weakness, and the throw just kind of dies on him.
Well, every time I see Ron Oster slide head first, it takes me back to that Pittsburgh game when he really jammed his left shoulder, and he has hurt it 3 times since then, but my goodness, he's a gutsy player and just continues to work at it. Keeps himself in outstanding condition as well. Roy Lee Jackson continues to throw. 8-7 our score. The Reds have out-hit the Padres 10-9, but I think we've got a lot more coming.
Well, Pete Rose is going to go to the bench again. He just like using a designated hitter. Foley hit for McGaffigan in the 2nd inning. Venable batted for Stuper in the 3rd, and here in the 5th, Cedeno is going to hit for Hume. We've already seen McGaffigan, Stuper, Buchanan, and Hume.
And we've got no one on base. Apparently Don Fehr maybe has called Pete Rose and said, Pete, use them all. We ain't playing tomorrow. There's Ron Robinson. Ball is in there. It's a ball and a strike to Cesar Cedeno.
I'll say one thing. When we get to the 16th inning early in the morning, we're not going to have to worry about that many substitutions. Everybody's going to be used by then.
Well, Cedeno is hitting .241 this year. He has 3 home runs and 26 RBIs. Checks his swing on pitch outside. It's 2 balls and a strike. Jackson really working over the gum. 6'2", 205 pounds, 31-year-old, Pinellas Park, Florida. CC has to bend away from that one. 3-1. You can't use Soto. He went Saturday. You can't use Browning. He went on Sunday. Here's the 3-1. CC pounds it foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Pretty well left with, after Robinson, Franco, and Power.
Cedeno drills it to center field, but back goes Bunbury. He's right there for the second out of the fifth. So the Reds now have used McGaffigan. They have used Stuper. They have used Buchanan. They've used Hume. And it appears Ron Robinson will take the mound in the fifth, or the sixth inning of play.
Good night for scorecard sales.
Ours looks like hieroglyphics. Here's Eddie Miller. He's 2 for 3 in the ball game. There you see it single twice. He's also stolen his 20th base of the year. And the ball strike count to Eddie is 1-0. He's upped his average to 253. One ball, one strike. Misses outside, 2-1. A run is in, and the go-ahead RBI belongs to Dave Van Gorder as Oster doubled to start the inning, stole third, and Van Gorder drove him in. And Eddie pops it foul again. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. This has been one wild ball game. We've seen 19 hits in the game, and we are only in the bottom of the fifth. So if we were to end on an exciting note, this is the way we're going to have it. The Padres and the Reds. He jolts one deep to right field. Back goes Bunbury to the wall, and he makes the catch. And that will do it for Cincinnati in their half of the fifth, but they take the lead on 1 hit. The sacrifice fly by Dave Van Gorder, and they head to the sixth, leading 8-7. Well, that gentleman viewing the Reds' new pitcher. And the new pitcher for Cincinnati is Ron Robinson, as the judge prepares to make his decision on Ron Robinson. Well, Ron Robinson this year is 5-3 with a 4.74 earned run average. He's pitching in his 21st game. He has 6 starts this year. He's thrown 57 innings, and he's been troubled of late. And Ron throws one high to the leadoff man, Al Bunbury, who fouls it off, and he's ahead. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, the Reds really need some good work from Ron Robinson here, because they've already used 4 pitchers in the game. Ron is number 5. We would like to tell you that Joe Price has come off the disabled list tonight. Beautiful curveball by Robinson to Al Bunbury. Bunbury is 38 years old. He has been around. An all-star for the Baltimore organization for many years. Attended Virginia State College in Petersburg, Virginia. The interesting story about Al, I'll tell you after this pitch. He fouls it out of play, 1-2. Al attended college on a basketball scholarship at Virginia State and played basketball for 4 seasons, not playing baseball until his senior year. And when he did, man, did he hit the ball. 578 was his average. And he was named Player of the Year in both basketball and baseball. That's a talented young man. Went on to become a second lieutenant in an ROTC program, was called away from the Baltimore organization. He had to serve 11 months over in Vietnam as a second lieutenant, earning a Bronze Star. So he has done his job. Every capacity. 2-2 pitch is low. It's 3-2. Bunbury tonight, a base hit. And then the Reds finally were able to put him down after 5 straight hits for Al Bunbury. He grounded out in the second, a ground out in the fourth. Here's the 3-2 pitch. A foul. The Reds do not want to give Al Bunbury any room to run on the base pass because he has excellent speed. Even though he's getting on in years, his best stolen base year was back in 1980 when he had 44 for the Orioles. Again, knocks it foul. Robinson just challenging him with that fastball. A little grounder to Davy Concepcion. Now Bunbury is cut down 6-3. Brings us to Gary Templeton, who has been on a tear against the Reds this year. He's hitting over 500 against Cincinnati. And tonight he is 3 for 3, all 3 singles. He's scored 2 runs. He has driven 1 in. He's stolen the base. And he's played flawless defense at shortstop. Ball 1. Robinson seems to have that fastball moving. And they're popping him foul. You know, it's humming up their 85 to 90 mile an hour range. Templeton gets under this one. Esaski coming on. Will have no play. As one of the spectators made an outstanding catch. Wow. And getting some high fives from his kids. Look at this catch. Leaning out, bringing it in. Souvenir for a Reds fan. Now we're going to miss that tomorrow. We hope somehow the players and owners will get this thing solved. Curveball hit on the ground to Ron Oster. 2 outs. If there is a strike tonight, as they say there will be at midnight, a baseball strike, we will not have baseball tomorrow. And that is indeed a shame. Oh, baseball, hot dogs, and Budweiser. Fastball low. I think, Ken, you've got to be thinking, please, Ron Robinson, throw extremely well.
Well, either way, he's going to throw a few innings.
We're running out of gas, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's the 6th inning. He's going to at least pitch the 6th and the 7th, and then you've got Franco and Power, and you have extra innings. They're going to have to stretch it out.
Outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Wait, Dave Van Gorder catches. See if he snaps that ball. Whoop. He's saying, please give me the strike zone on that one. He was snapping the ball into the strike zone. He did that last night, and I asked him why in that final inning with Ted Power. Pop foul, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ted Power was on the mound, and Dave did not think the umpire was giving him the corner of the plate. So he would try and bring it in, but he said he was also upset with the situation. But he would snap it, bring it into the strike zone just to make sure and let the umpire know sure. Throws his bat at the baseball, comes up with a base hit. So Gwynn is on again, his 2nd hit of the ball game, and he's been on 3 times.
Who does that look like?
Looks like Rod Carew.
Number 3,000. But that Rod Carew hit yesterday in Anaheim looked like 4 zillion Rod Carew hits previously. Tony Gwynn has some of those Carew traits. A fine, fine hitter. 2 hits in this one.
Excellent hands, quick wrists. And, you know, I think every single pitcher has to be going, golly, how does this guy do it? He just throws his bat at the ball, make contact, I guess. Steve Garvey, the batter. That RBI single he had in inning number 5 pulled the Padres to within 2 at that time. They are within 1 now, 8-7. The hits are even at 10 apiece. And Garvey swings right through a Ron Robinson fastball.
You know, we were talking earlier about players with big, long, looping swings. Garvey's a different type of hitter.
Very compact. And there's the compact swing, sky to center field. And this should end the inning. And will. So the Reds cling to their 1-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning of play. Cincinnati leading 8-7. The Cincinnati Reds trying to move 2 full games up on the San Diego Padres in 2nd place in the National League West. And they still lead at 8-7 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning of play. Roy Lee Jackson on the mound against Pete Rose. Pete is 0 for 2 in the ball game. He has scored a run, and that came on Dave Parker's 21st home run of the year. A blast over the right field wall. swinging hard, but misses. It's 0-1. Around the American League, New York ahead of Chicago 6-0 in the 6th. Detroit and Kansas City are scoreless in the 4th. It's 8-7 here, Cincinnati. Down the middle, strike 2. I'm not so sure Pete's been agreeing on these pitches. That looked to be a good one, though. Roy Lee Jackson is hoping San Diego can score some runs. He stands to be the losing pitcher. High, 1-2. We've got the big guy on deck. That's Dave Parker. Smashed his 21st home run back in the 4th. But at that time gave Cincinnati a 7-4 lead. And Rose pops it up. Shallow left field. Martinez is there. 1 away in the 6th. And it brings us to the big guy, Dave Parker, who the Padres have been unable to get out tonight. A single in the 1st, a double in the 3rd, and a 3-run shot in the 4th. And it was a pretty swing to see. If he gets a 3-bagger, he hits for the cycle. He's getting in one of those grooves again, Ken Wilson, where pitches it's almost impossible to get him out. And he drills one again down the line. Quinn will try and cut it off. There goes Parker to second base. He's going to hang on there. He's going to say, forget the triple. I'm staying here. Yes, sir. He's in a groove.
Parker now has 5 straight hits, a single, 3 doubles, and a home run. And, of course, he's back over 300. Roy Lee Jackson trying to sneak the fastball by him in, but he not only gets it out over the plate, but up. And Galen Cisco will come out. Parker just red hot. He was at 302 coming to that plate appearance. So he's at 303, maybe 304.
But it's like Pedro Guerrero last night. What are you throwing him a fastball for? Man, he has been outstanding tonight. His average up over 300 once again. One of only a few National Leaguers over that 300 mark in 1985. Pace again being sent by Willie McGee, who's hitting 347. You've got Pete Guerrero at 326. Tommy Herr, he's slipped a little bit of late, only hitting 315. Tony Gwynn's hitting 305. And you've got Parker now at 303. Here's Buddy Bell. There's the curveball that should have been thrown to Dave Parker.
One thing about Bell is he certainly does not swing at many pitches. A very patient, very selective hitter.
Buddy tonight has walked twice. The patience has shown through. He has also struck out. Parker at second base with 1 out. We're in the 6th, an 8-7 ball game. Cincinnati has the lead, and that is the face of Roy Lee Jackson against Buddy Bell. Fastball down the middle. 1 ball, 1 strike. Buddy went to Miami University. Later attended Xavier University. Here's the pitch. Fastball ripped to left field. Martinez comes on, has a chance to double up Dave, but will be unable to as the throw is high. Well, again, Buddy Bell hits it hard right on the button, but Martinez is able to come in a couple of steps to make the catch.
Again, a fastball that came up in the strike zone. Martinez getting it back in, but Parker alertly returning to second base.
So it is up to Nick Esaski to bring the Reds a little insurance here in the 6th inning of play. They lead by 1 run, and Esaski tonight is 1 for 3. He has struck out twice, and he has doubled in a run. He has scored, and he comes up again with 2 outs. Ooh, swings and misses. And Nick really positioning himself well. As a matter of fact, Billy DeMars was talking about him opening up too early about 2 weeks ago. He had a habit of that back knee flopping down, and he wants the front knee to bend, if at all, if any knee bends. There's a fastball. It's popped up, out of play. You'll watch that. It really should be the front leg. With the back leg bent, your eyes have a tendency to come up. So does your uppercut. And that has troubled Nick, and that's why he popped up about 2 weeks ago on several occasions. Then he got in the tear where Billy DeMars was able to work him out of that mold, get the front leg bent, back leg straight up, and he's been driving the baseball more. He's behind, 0-2. There's ball one.
See a breaking pitch here.
Nick's been saying, and that's all I've been seeing, is changes and breaking pitches. Roy Lee Jackson likes to see the fastball, but perhaps the curve.
That's all he's going to see until he really consistently hits breaking pitches here in the National League.
Let's see if this is one. New fastball inside. And you would think so that Roy Lee would know the book on him, and Terry Kennedy would call for the breaking stuff.
It's surprising that Jackson has not thrown more breaking balls here, but a pitcher should go with his strength rather than go necessarily with the hitter's weaknesses.
Nick rips one to third. Nettles has it. Quick toss. That will do it for Cincinnati. In the sixth, they get a double, but Dave Parker is unable to come around. The Reds still lead as they head to the seventh, 8-7. The Reds have out-hit the Padres by 1. They have outscored the Padres by 1. And with the score 8-7, let's now pause for station identification on the Reds television network.
Sports, Cincinnati style. WLWT Channel 5.
Robinson on the mound, the fifth Reds hurler, facing Greg Nettles, leading off the seventh inning, and it is a ball and 2 strikes. Nettles, Kennedy, and Martinez. RBI single in the fifth inning for Nettles, actually a double. Out in left field is Sasky, a long way to go, and the catch and 1 away.
You know, he's not doing too bad out there in left field. Big guy who had never played the outfield ever, not only just in the major leagues, but professionally and as a minor league, as a little leaguer. He's not looking too bad out there.
I agree with Joe Morgan. Anybody can play the outfield. Terry Kennedy has walked and grounded out twice. He's scored a run and driven in a run with a ground out. The outfield is so easy compared to shortstop, for instance. It's incredible. 1 and 1.
Or third base, for that matter.
Well, the toughest position to me is shortstop.
Oh, exactly.
Because of all the things you have to do. So many different plays that you're involved in. So much pre-thinking. In the outfield, you have very limited number of things that can happen on each particular pitch. Catching and pitching, I don't even consider. They're incredible.
Well, you know, of all positions that I would hate to play, third base is the one just because of the hot shots. We've got Craig Lefferts up and throwing for San Diego.
A walk to Kennedy. Well, the thing about playing third base, though, is you have, again, so many fewer things that can occur. So many different options that you face playing third base compared to shortstop or second. Buddy Bell basically has a few cutoff plays. He covers the bag at third. That's in ground balls, and that's about all he's got. The shortstop's got relays and cutoffs and covering second base, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. And it's terrible just to go through the mental exercise in a 9-inning game that a shortstop has to go through. This is Martinez, who is 1 for 3. 2-0.
I was strictly talking fear factor. Those hot shots you get down there, but I understand what you're saying.
Oh, fear is something everybody has to feel when you come to the plate in the big leagues. Oster, nice play. It was an out before he bobbled it, and they're 2 away.
It looked like he was trying to make the exchange and perhaps draw a napping runner at first base and try and catch. But look at this shot. A terrific play by Ron Oster. He makes the catch. It looks like he makes the exchange to try and double up the runner.
8-7. Reds lead. 7th inning. 2 outs. Kennedy at first. The hitter, Jerry Royster. And Ron Robinson's pitch is a ball. Royster pinch hit in the 5th inning for starter Tim Flannery and walked. Good fastball. 1-1. Royster with Atlanta from 76 through last year. Played briefly with the Dodgers before that. Out of play, a ball, 2 strikes. Royster has had more success hitting in his career against the Reds than any other team. He came into the season as a .364 lifetime hitter against Cincinnati. 2-2.
He was kind of caught in between there. Royce with a smile on his face, like he was almost ready to drive into the pitch, and instead of backing away, he almost ducked under it.
Out of play. Still 2-2. Royster this year against the Reds, coming in at .364 lifetime, is only 6 for 12. So I'll tell you something. He just chews up Reds pitchers over many, many years. He's seen them all, and it must just be the uniform.
Just glad Gary Templeton and Jerry Royster don't play on every team.
It's amazing, and players can never quite explain it. 8-7. Reds lead. 7th inning. Out of play. 2-2. The Padres coming in at 55-50. The Reds at 55-48. San Diego a game under 500 on the road, and the Reds 2 games over 500 here at home. Still 2-2. If you're really into how the pitchers have done tonight, Andy McGaffigan gave up 4 runs in 2 innings. John Stuper did not allow a run in 1 inning. Bob Buchanan pitched an inning and 2/3, allowed 3 runs. Tom Hume pitched a 1/3 of an inning and did not allow a run. Ron Robinson's change has popped up. And that'll do it. And Robinson has allowed just 2 base runners and shut out the Padres in 2 innings. The crowd ready for the 7th inning stretch. The Reds lead by 1. Ready for the Reds half of the 7th inning, and the 6, 7, and 8 hitters, Concepcion, Oster, and Van Gorder. Roy Lee Jackson entering his 3rd inning of work. Watches the ball sail to right down the line. Gwynn giving chase, out of play. Top of the 9th in Pittsburgh. Expos and Pirates tied at 2. The Dodgers have a big 6-1 lead in Atlanta in the 8th. Bottom of the 4th at Busch Stadium. Phillies 6, St. Louis 1. And in the top of the 5th at Houston, the Giants lead the Astros 1-0. Mets won today 7-2 at Chicago. If St. Louis loses, the Mets move into 1st place in the National League East. 2 strikes on Davey. Should this game remain 8-7, or should the Reds never relinquish the lead, Roy Lee Jackson would be the loser. Tom Hume would be the winner. 1-2. Hume hardly had a chance to get his uniform sweaty or dirty. He pitched to only 1 hitter back in the 5th inning. And in the bottom of the frame, the Reds took the 8-7 lead. 1-2 the count on Concepcion.
So again, Jerry Davis, that man, put him down. First, take a shower. Give him my victory.
The Reds 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors. They've left a half dozen. San Diego 7-10-0. They have left 7. 2-2. Ron Oster 2 for 2 with a sacrifice fly, an RBI, and 2 runs scored on deck. Atención, looking at that strike zone. Roy Lee Jackson has his initial strikeout.
That was one of those, I hope that he calls it outside because I'm heading to first base or home, because it looked like a strike 3. It was strike 3, but Davey was hoping that he might call it ball 4. No argument, though, by Davey.
No, but he gave a good enough look that John McSherry got the message. Roy Lee Jackson will face Ron Oster. And I do mean face them, face to face, and they're 2 away. The Reds have some activity now in their bullpen. Dave Van Gorder will be the hitter with 2 outs and nobody on. Drove in his 20th run of the year in the 5th inning with a sacrifice fly to break the 7-7 deadlock. Royster, and the Reds go 1, 2, 3, and after 7 innings at Riverfront, Reds 8, Padres 7. Family there. The lovely lady with her back to you is Pete's wife Carol. The little guy is Tyler. Ty Rose, and the gentleman sitting there is Pete's brother Dave. It's a family affair at the old ball yard, and the Reds make some changes. John Franco is tuning up in the pen. He'll come in and make it for real here in the 8th inning, trying to hold a 1-run lead, and he'll have a new battery mate as Pete Rose makes a double switch. Dan Billardello takes over behind home plate. He'll bat 9th, and Franco will bat 8th. John Franco has had a remarkable season. He's appearing tonight in his 37th game, more than any other Reds pitcher. He is 9-1 with 3 saves and a tremendous ERA of 2.19. Boy, he and Ted Power have been outstanding out of the Reds bullpen in short relief. Franco with a 9-game winning streak.
He was walking around in the Reds clubhouse tonight telling what he'd do after the strike.
Here's Mario Ramirez pinch hitting for San Diego, pinch hitting in the number 9 spot, hitting for Roy Lee Jackson and hitting .259. What are you going to do? Go play pool in Brooklyn or what?
No, he had a cup held out, went around with some sunglasses on, and said he'd be on the street corner tomorrow begging for money.
1-1 the count on Ramirez. John's changed 2-1. Franco is pitcher number 6 for the Reds. We're going to see the 4th San Diego pitcher in the bottom of the 8th inning. 2-2.
Well, we understand the strike talks have broken off once again. There's no word on whether Lee McPhail or Don Fever will get together later this evening. Once again, it's not only the pension money, but arbitration continues to be the case.
Over in the American League, 6-0 Yankees in New York in the 6th inning. They lead the White Sox. The Tigers are in the 5th inning at Kansas City, trailing Dick Hauser's Royals 2-1. The Mariners are at California, and Minnesota at Oakland. They'll be getting underway in about half an hour. Nice pitch. Boy, Franco can be so effective against the right-handed hitters. He'll throw you that Scroogey and change speeds, get that ball just tailing away. 1 out. Game 2 of this series set for tomorrow night, 7:35. Jay Tibbs against Mark Thurmond. And the wrap-up game Wednesday here at 12:35. A tremendous pitching matchup, Mario Soto and Lamar Hoyt. There's a familiar face, Mr. Bavacqua. Started his career in the Reds organization. Kurt Bavacqua, pinch hitting for Al Bunbury.
Man man, has he been around. As you said, starting with the Reds, but he's been with Baltimore, Kansas City.
Nice play by Davey, and he gets his man. 2 outs.
That was the old Davey Concepcion, one bounce to the first baseman. He started this several years ago, but plants himself smoothly and gets rid of it, and just knowing, I'm going to bounce it on the turf right over to Pete, and Pete digs it out for the second out of the inning.
That is the 14th time in a row that Bavacqua has failed as a pinch hitter. 1 strike on Gary Templeton as he doesn't get a low sinker. Bavacqua has not had a pinch hit for Dick Williams since April. 2 strikes.
I remember his grand slam home run here at Riverfront Stadium. Beat the Reds earlier this year in a very important 4-game series at that time.
Bavacqua has had a couple of grand slam home runs this year. 1-2 the count on Templeton. He is 3 for 4. Reds lead 8-7, 8th inning. Two and 2. Reds broke a 7-7 tie in the 5th inning. And to say the least, things have settled down. Oster led off the 5th with a double, stole 3rd and scored on Dave Van Gorder's sacrifice fly off Roy Lee Jackson. Makes it look easy. Ramirez, Bavacqua, Templeton go in order. The Reds will bat in the 8th. They lead by 1 run. Game of a 3-game set with San Diego. Well, hope is what we need, and we're going to get Bob Hope, America's favorite funny man. He's going to join the Reds for an afternoon of entertainment on Super Family Day. That's here Sunday, September 1st. The entertainment spectacular will follow the Reds-Pirates game at 2:15, a benefit performance for one of Hope's favorite associations, the Bob Hope House, which helps young boys in this area. Special prices, by the way, are in effect. Call or stop by any Reds or Ticketron location for all the details. This Super Family Day special date is brought to you by the Reds, the Bob Hope House, and Shoney's, Captain D's, and famous recipe restaurants. Greg Lefferts, the former Cub southpaw, comes on to work here in the 8th. And Dan Billardello, the 9th hitter in the order, and the Reds catcher, leads off, taking strike 1. Hawkins, Stoddard, Jackson, and Lefferts for Dick Williams. McGaffigan, Stuper, Buchanan, Hume, Robinson, and Franco for Pete Rose tonight. Out of play, 2 strikes. Changes defensively. Besides Lefferts on the hill, a new center fielder and a new second baseman for San Diego. Lefferts, by the way, hitting first in the order. Jerry Royster has moved to center field from second base. He's been replaced there by Mario Ramirez. 1-2. Bill Ardello hitting 172, reaches out on a change, and Garvey will try to reach out, but he can't quite make the play. Still a ball, 2 strikes.
Craig Lefferts, what a terrific year he had a year ago, as Dan Billardello stands in there. And Craig Lefferts was 3-4 a year ago, had a 2-1 earned run average, but it's a classic example, he is, of a guy just adding 1 pitch to his repertoire and turning his entire career around. That 1 pitch was the screwball.
And 2. Let's set the Padres defensively. Martinez out in left field. Royster in center. Gwynn in right. Nettles, Templeton, Ramirez, Garvey the infield. And Royster gets tested immediately in center field. 1 out. Of course, the battery, the Lefferts, and Kennedy. San San Diego in the 9th will have the heart of their order against John Franco, Tony Gwynn, Steve Garvey, and Greg Nettles. Lefferts faces Eddie Milner, 2 out of 4 with an RBI, his 18th of the year. Eddie with 2 hits. Parker with 4. Usaski has a hit. Concepcion a hit also. Oster has 2 hits. Van Gorder 1. I mentioned earlier that Bell was the only Reds starter, any non-pitcher without a hit. Actually, Pete without a hit. He's 0 for 3. Buddy is 0 for 2 tonight. But Rose is on deck, so there's hope for Pete. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1.
Pete will be batting from the right side when he takes the plate.
Two and 2. We should tell you a little bit about Lefferts. He's working on his 41st game. That's high on the staff. 6-5. Lefferts with a 3.58 ERA. Carmelo Martinez, 2 outs in the Reds' 8th inning.
And here comes Mr. Rose with his final opportunity in this ball game. Think of a base hit.
Pete is a right-handed hitter. Is 8 for 33. That's 242. Pete also is hitless in his last 13 at-bats, so he's been sitting on 25 for quite a while. 25 hits to break Ty Cobb's all-time hit mark. Ball 1.
Talk about switch hitters, and Pete Rose this year has been up against a right-hander batting left-handed throughout his career.
There it is, a base hit for Rose. He needs just 24 safeties to surpass Ty Cobb. 12 hits for the Reds tonight.
Two Hall of Famers eyeing each other, Steve Garvey and Pete Rose. Beautiful swing, right-handed this time. And he takes it the opposite way beautifully, and Pete has himself a base hit. I was going to say there have only been 2 occasions throughout his career where he's batted left-handed against a left-hander. One of those was the toughest guy ever faced, he says, Randy Jones in San Diego.
Here's Parker. He is 4 for 4, including a 3-run homer. This ball will carry into the seats. The Reds 8 runs, 12 hits, no errors. The Padres 7 runs, 10 hits, no errors. It's the bottom of the 8th inning.
Parker has had himself a field day, has he not? It just seems like everything is nothing but a line drive. He has had no cheap hits tonight.
Parker leading the league now in RBIs with 80. 1 ball, 1 strike.
When Lefferts came up, he was strictly a fastball curveball pitcher, and he said he was going to be a journeyman. Struggled with Chicago, just kind of an afterthought in the deal that sent him to San Diego.
Well, you got a lot of time to get under this one. Martinez wants it, and he's got it. Rose gets a hit. That's the important factor in the Reds' 8th inning, and they leave their 7th runner on base. And it's on to the... It's the 9th. It'll be Glenn, Garvey, and Nettles. Well, Marathon sponsored Autograph Ball Day here yesterday, and the folks at Marathon have just a beautiful poster of Riverfront and the Cincinnati skyline, and they have a special limited offer for all adult Reds fans. If you stop by a participating Marathon dealer anytime during August, you can pick up this handsome poster with your gasoline purchase. And of course, it's just an outstanding photo. Posters available now till the end of the month at participating Marathon Petroleum Company dealers. Tony Gwynn finds himself in the hole against John Franco. 2 strikes. 8-7. Reds lead it in the 9th inning. Reds looking to move 8 games over 500. Franco trying to pick up his 4th save, preserving the 2nd victory of the year for Tom Hume, who would be 2-3. There it is. There's a strikeout. The 2nd strikeout for Franco. He has retired all 4 Padres that he's faced. Now a couple of home run threats. First Garvey and then Nettles. Garvey has not had much success against the Reds this year. 5 for 29. He has an RBI single in 4 tries tonight. He didn't waste any time, just as he did in the 5th inning. He slugs the first pitch for a single. And that is 11 hits now for San Diego. And they've got the potential tying run on base and the potential go-ahead run at the plate here in the 9th with 1 out. Is called and Garvey will be lifted, and the pinch runner will be Bobby Brown, the journeyman fleet-footed outfielder Bobby Brown. Franco set to work on Nettles. He has an RBI double in 4 at-bats. Ball 1 on Greg, who is just 2 weeks away from his 41st birthday. One and 1. Nettles ending his career in San Diego, where he grew up just 5 blocks from the house in which Ted Williams was born. Trying to pull out a victory for San Diego here in the 9th. Quick jump by Asaski. He'll have to play the ball on a hop. Brown will have to pull up at second base. And here come the Padres. Back-to-back singles with 1 out. And the hits are even now, 12 aside. Terry Kennedy will face Franco. Power in the bullpen. Martinez and Royster are due after Kennedy, a couple of right-handed hitters. Kennedy doesn't run well, and Franco would love to deal up the double play ball and send everyone home. John makes the play, but it's a foul ball at home plate. Came into the game with a 6-game hitting streak. He's walked twice, grounded out twice, driving in an RBI with one of those ground balls. Brown at second, Nettles at first. Good breaking pitch, and Kennedy in the hole, 2 strikes. Bill Ardello wants to talk with Franco. On deck for San Diego, Carmelo Martinez. There's Brown and Nettles. Brown with brilliant speed, and Nettles does not run that well. Kennedy just protected himself. Still 2 strikes. Dick Williams, coming off a World Series appearance last October. Kennedy staying alive. Concepcion gets a tough hop, goes to Oster for 1, on to first, not in time. And that is the second out as Brown stops at third base on the force out of Nettles. Runners at first and third with 2 outs. That ball just not hit sharply enough, even though Kennedy does not run well at all. And Davey kind of got caught between hops a little bit also. And he almost lost that one between his legs. Franco now is going to be lifted. Rose has taken the ball from him. And with a right-handed hitter coming up, Pete will go to Ted Power. Franco loses a chance at his 4th save. And Ted Power, who got the final outs yesterday against the Dodgers, will come on. Lifted to Nick Isaski, and the ball game is over. Ted Power earns his 19th save. Tom Hume is the winner. The final in the opener of the 3-game series, Reds 8, San Diego 7, will return to an explosive Riverfront Stadium in just a moment.